Natalia Paramo shared security footage from what looks like a storage warehouse, and what the camera captured is genuinely hard to explain.
Su cuerpo transparente es.
No es algo.
Y nos quedan mirando, pues. Mira.
Así le levanta la mano, así, ¿no?
Así se ha hecho, pues.
Y nadie más mira, pues, o vos has visto a Osmer.
Yo lo he visto, pues. Lo he visto. Bien, sí, pero lo he visto.
¿Qué hora es ahí? Largo, largo.
Las 2 de la mañana, sí.
2:11, a ver, vamos, si quieren.
Ya
se van los 2 minutos, ya irá.
Espera.
No, pero vamos por a las 2:11 vamos a ver el otro.
No, solo de salir
El de aquí dices, ¿no?
Sí, para que se vayan.
No, esperamos acá, chico. Pues, aquí creo que es la teletransportación de Goku. Y después el Bruce va a caminar aquí, no encuentra nada,
pues.
dice.
Pero se nota cómo se sale.
No sale.
Ahí está, mira, ahí está.
Mira. Y no camina como gente, ¿no lo has visto?
At first glance, it might just be a kid wandering through the warehouse. But the workers who sent this clip in say they never saw any child there that day, especially not one dressed like that or moving that way. No one on site recognized them. And if you watch closely, you can actually see parts of the figure start to go transparent. So the question becomes, is this footage showing a child's ghost? Donna is taking care of her grandfather, Paul, who's 89 years old. While preparing a meal in the kitchen one evening, both of them hear an odd noise coming from somewhere in the house. They search the area but don't see anything unusual, so they continue with their tasks until the sound happens a second time. A woman can be heard saying what sounds like, "Help me." Paul feels strangely compelled to walk around and investigate the room, even though he normally avoids it because it brings him sadness and he rarely moves much. But despite looking carefully through the space, he finds absolutely nothing there that could explain what happened. Here's where it gets harder to explain. The house has 4 security cameras, one in every room. But only the camera in this specific bedroom captured the voice. That room is where Paul's wife had died exactly 1 year earlier, so was she somehow calling out to him one last time? A few weeks back, a cinema worker in Mexico started noticing something strange happening with one of the bathroom doors while he was working late.
Cosas, ya salí, de hecho ya apagué estas luces, nada más dejé los de las salas y me están tocando la puerta. Este es el baño que está aquí abajo del cine, el familiar, y ¿quién eres? Tú no perteneces aquí. Creo que... ¡Puta madre! Voy a agarrar esta cosa y voy a poner el celular fijo para que no vayan a pensar que hay cortes de cámara o algo, porque quiero hacer algo. Quiero hacer algo. Quiero... Ahí está. Acá lo voy a dejar. Perfecto. Aquí va, que no hay corte. Vean la manita. carajo. No hay nadie, no hay nadie. Quiero que vean que no hay nadie. Voy a prender el flash. Acá estoy yo. Yo mejor me voy.
He films the handle shaking on its own, checks inside, and finds the room completely empty. The next night, he's cleaning out one of the screening rooms and records something even stranger.
Ahí escuché que tocaron. Obviamente, como es vidrio, se escucha claramente. Entonces, escuché que me tocaron ahí la ventanita. Algo que se me ha cerrado. Se me hace bastante raro porque pues es de día y no sé por qué me quieren espantar ahorita que pues estoy en la mañana. Ahí de... Oigan, creo que se ve una mano. No sé. A ver, voy a irme del otro lado porque según yo vi una mano. Es que a simple vista veo una mano, pero no se ve, o sea, a través de la cámara no se ve, pero yo a ojo humano sí se ve. Y terminé subiendo a la casita, pero vean esto. Ahí creo que se llega a ver una mano.
Though the image is unclear, something resembling a palm presses against the projection booth window while tapping sounds echo nearby. Upon entering the booth, he discovers a clear handprint left on the glass. According to Jonas, the unexplained incidents at the cinema have been escalating over time. A kid was playing in the backyard one afternoon when the security camera picked up something odd. The child is out there alone, moving around normally, when suddenly they freeze and turn their head toward one corner of the yard. That's when a group of dark figures moves across the grass. They're fast, almost running low to the ground, and the kid's eyes track them the whole way until they disappear from frame. The person who posted the clip says the figures seem to drop behind a slope in the yard, or maybe blend into the background somehow. It's hard to tell where exactly they go, and that's part of what made the video spread online. A lot of viewers think it could be a lighting trick, maybe animals moving fast enough to blur, or just the way the camera handles motion. But others point out that there are several shapes, not just one, and the fact that the child clearly noticed them first. This clip comes from Asia, captured at 3 in the morning as a driver made his way home. The road was narrow, cutting between rows of palms, and that's when the headlights picked up something unusual. A figure in what looked like an old military uniform, motionless in the center of the road, eyes fixed on the dark ahead. He wasn't holding a flashlight, didn't move at all, and showed no sign he even noticed the car. Then, just after they passed him, something even stranger appeared. 2 more men appeared further up the road, both dressed in the same type of outdated military clothing. They were walking together down the center of the empty road, moving at the same steady speed. The driver got closer, but neither one turned around or even seemed to notice the headlights coming up from behind. The truly disturbing part was just how synchronized everything about them appeared. They walked at the same speed, took identical strides, and even moved their arms in precisely matching patterns. The person filming said afterward that he had absolutely no plans to stop his vehicle and try figuring out who these people actually were, or why they'd be standing out there in the middle of nowhere at night. So he simply kept his car moving and drove straight past the whole strange scene. No one ever learned who they were or what circumstances led them onto that empty highway well past midnight, navigating pitch-black conditions with absolutely no lighting equipment or other means to see their path. Though admittedly, some completely normal scenario might explain everything that occurred. While visiting a traditional Japanese tea ceremony room, a student started recording the space as the group wandered through. The room was quiet, empty aside from the students themselves, and he wanted to get some footage of the place before their class began.
広いですね。こんなに中広かったんだ。すごい。ここ入りましたっけ？まだでしたっけ？
ここはまだ行ってないけど、開けると。
あ、さっきのところにつながってる。なんかいた？あれ？あれ？That's
when something dark crosses behind one of the paper sliding doors. The shape moves quickly, but just before it should appear in the doorway, it's gone. The student filming notices it right away and walks straight over to check, but when he looks behind the door, there's nothing there. He heads back to the group, thinking maybe it was just a trick of the light, and keeps chatting with the others. But then the camera picks up something else. Over in the corner of the room, a dark figure stands completely still for just a moment before disappearing from view. Around 3 in the morning, a security camera installed outside a house began to record strange movement, similar to swinging where there should have been nothing. The camera picked up what looks like a swinging motion in an area where nothing should be there. When you look closely at the shape on screen, it genuinely resembles a kid rocking back and forth, almost like they're sitting on a swing, or maybe a hammock, which makes no sense for this location. This is just an ordinary residential street, where people walk and cars drive through. There's no park nearby. No playground equipment, nothing that would explain a rope hanging in midair. So is this just light bouncing off something? Or is there actually more happening? The people who live here think they know. According to locals, this entire area used to be farmland attached to an old estate before the neighborhood was built. They claim a large tree once stood in this exact spot, and the family who owned it hung swings from the branches for their children to play on. Which raises the question of what we're actually looking at. Is this some kind of leftover energy from a child who used to play here? Or does it point to something much darker from the manor's past? Lou found herself wide awake at 3 in the morning on October 14th, 2025, so she settled into her living room with a book to pass the time, her mythology book. The security camera shows her sitting there absorbed in the pages while Peanut, her dog, wanders around the room checking things out. Then, while she's still reading, the camera picks up something strange. Without warning, Lou flinches hard and jerks her head to the side, staring at the empty space next to her. Nothing's visible on camera. A second later, Peanut walks straight to that same spot, sniffing around, and then stays right by Lou's side as if something in the room has him on edge too. According to Lou, she felt and heard hot breath directly against her right ear in that moment, which is why she immediately stood up and started backing away. Just as she's moving toward the door, a bottle sitting on the table tips over and falls to the floor, completely on its own. Neither she nor the dog went anywhere near it.
Our house is actually covered with 3 CCTV cameras for our own protection. And a lot of you are asking if I was reading a Bible that time. No. I was actually reading this. I'm a fan of anything that is ancient. A lot of you are also asking what was the whisper all about. I'm sorry, pero namali ako doon. It was not a whisper, but it was just a breathing. And something that was breathing, that is where alcohol bottle was placed. Something is protecting me there.
Lou also mentions that on several different occasions, when everyone was either asleep or away from home, she's gotten motion detection alerts from various rooms, but when she checks the footage, there's never anyone visible. She says she doesn't feel too frightened about it because she has cameras for protection, and besides, she's got her dog Peanut with her. But there's still no clear answer for what caused the breath near her ear or made that bottle fall. For now, it's still unexplained. Tim went way out into this weird secluded forest area and got his campsite ready right as the sun was going down. Something about the place felt off right from the start. The trees were all bent and twisted in ways that didn't look natural at all, almost like the forest itself was deliberately trying to keep something hidden deep within. When it got completely dark outside, Tim carefully set candles around a Ouija board and started his session. Nothing happened at first, but then the glass piece began sliding around without anyone touching it.
Стакан тянулся.
Духи этого леса. Вы можете выйти со мной на контакт. Духи этого леса.
A few seconds later, some dark shape ran past through the trees. Tim had also set up walkie-talkies all over the area, trying to catch any voices or signals from whatever might be out there in the woods with him. Then one of the walkie-talkies, the one hanging from a tree branch right above where he was, started swinging around completely on its own. There wasn't any wind at all, but it kept swinging while static crackled through the speaker. Tim got out of his tent to go look at it, and sure enough, the thing was still moving. While his camera kept rolling, Tim heard this strange sound coming from somewhere out in the dark. He turned his head, trying to work out what direction it was coming from and what could possibly be making that noise. Right then, though, his other camera was busy recording something way more unsettling. Something passed right in front of the lens, close enough to block the frame for a second, and somehow Tim had no idea it was even happening.
Фонарик, тень откуда-нибудь показалась.
It wasn't until later, when Tim went back through all his recordings, that he understood just how scary that moment actually was. Whatever went past the camera had been moving directly behind him while he stood there alone in the forest. No sound, no footsteps, nothing to warn him at all. Just this thing silently moving through the dark right behind where he was standing. Once he saw that footage, Tim didn't want to spend one more second out there. He grabbed all his stuff and left as quickly as he could.
Снова какой-то шорох, скрип. Сказала, уходи. Рация снова шатается. Сейчас проверю ее на Эми. Твою ж мать, это не человек. Это не человек.
What he came away with was a bunch of seriously disturbing clips. The Ouija board moving by itself, a shadow figure running through the trees, a walkie-talkie swinging for no reason, weird static coming through, and something walking past him that he never even saw. Whether what happened that night was actual paranormal footage or just a bizarre experience in the middle of nowhere is something people still argue about. But if I reviewed my camera and saw something moving behind me like that, I'd be done camping immediately. A lot of people who visit Clune Park Estate say there's something really off about the place. Right in the middle of town, there's this abandoned school, and not far from it stands this creepy Gothic church. Visitors constantly report feeling like something's there with them. Back in the early 1920s, this area was actually a busy, lively community, but over time, everyone moved away. The official story is that people left because conditions got too rough to live in, but there's another theory going around. The whole estate is haunted. Two friends who know all about this history decide they're going to check it out after dark. Cameras ready, hoping to film something paranormal. For a while, everything seems normal. Then they go inside one of the empty apartments, and that's when they see something that shouldn't exist.
Hello? Isn't it? Hello? Yo! Hello? Yo, Coach, there's just... Hello? What is that? Is that downstairs? Hello? Someone down there, bro. How can they? I'm confused. Huh? In that room. Hello? Hello? What are we hearing? Hello?
They hear this weird sound coming from downstairs, so they go looking for whatever made it. They follow it to a specific room, push the door open, and there's nobody inside. Maybe it was just some homeless person hiding in the shadows. But here's the thing. Before they even stepped foot in the building, their camera picked up something they still can't make sense of.
Ain't it? Future in hand. Right, that one's open. Yo. Do you see movement then? Move the light. Yo. Yo. Is that? Yo.
There's a curtain hanging in one of the windows, and behind it, someone or something is definitely watching them. The moment they spot it, the figure pulls back out of sight. When they review the footage closely though, they can see this pale ghostly face staring out at them like something from a nightmare. The whole experience leaves both of them seriously freaked out. Given that the building's been empty for years and years, the big question is, what exactly was watching them from that window? The story begins with a young couple who had achieved what many dream of, purchasing an old house where a new life starts. Everything seemed ideal until gradually, unexplainable things started happening. The confused and frightened young man exits his bedroom to check, opens the door, looks outside, and there's nobody, just the echo of quiet, and that frozen feeling of being watched. Curious and now afraid, they decide to set up additional security cameras throughout the house. They wanted evidence and to figure out what was going on, but what they captured exceeded any rational explanation. Days later, while arguing in the kitchen, the impossible manifested itself again.
But but they like you a lot.
They're acting rude to me.
They're not trying. That's just how they. Hey.
Multiple objects, dishes, glasses, and utensils fly out violently, as if something unseen was hurling them with rage, and everything seemed to suggest that the house itself had wanted to end the argument, as if that place had awareness. The next footage was captured in the master bedroom. It was nighttime. The young woman was in her bed looking at her phone, waiting for her partner to arrive from work until the following happens. The camera shows how the bedroom door starts to move slowly, opening and closing on its own. The young woman thinks it's her partner, but nobody appears, nobody enters. This situation occurred while being completely alone in the home. Exhausted, terrified, and without answers, the couple decides to leave the house at night. To this day, nobody knows if they returned or if they decided to leave forever.